because the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
All right, welcome back to another ToolTip Tuesday. This is take 3 now of this video. Man, I just can't seem to get the words right today. And the words being the words in the PowerPoint. Noticed a bunch of errors, spelling errors, and just things that were bugging me. So I just decided, screw it, redo the PowerPoint. Now I'm here. So, today, sort of secrecy. Slicing up shells. What does that mean? Let's find out. Maybe I should be on the correct screen when I press the next arrow. There we go. So today, the agenda, we're going to go over an introduction, uses, installation, conclusion, and then we'll do a demo. Do want to say one thing. If you watched the video last week, some of these slides may look the same. They are. I just changed the pictures. Kodachi and Tails, very similar. So, Kodachi Linux. Kodachi is actually Japanese for a short sword. If I'm saying Kodachi wrong, please tell me. I want to know. I like getting words right. I hate when people get my last name wrong because they always add extra letters when they're actually not there. So, I like saying things right. Like I said, these two are very similar. In kind of only two ways though. It's a live USB that can have persistence, and it's amnesic. Kodachi actually says that they are anti-forensic, which is actually kind of important for some of this stuff. So, Kodachi, what is the biggest difference? Well, as you saw last week, hopefully you saw last week's video. If not, it's going to be up in one of these corners, probably the left one, that way. I know you can't really tell which way I'm pointing because it's like blurry and stuff, but I'm pointing to the left corner of the screen. If you haven't watched the video, go watch that one first. I'll give you a little bit more of a background on what the two differences really are. But in reality, Kodachi is a more usable, I'll say, live USB or VM. And I say that because it's not just a web browsing and secure communication platform, which essentially Tails is. When you break Tails down, you can access the dark web, you can't access the clear web. They have that actually shut off. You can access Thunar for mail, but then if you're using Tails, you should use Proton Mail or one of those end-to-end encrypted, couldn't think of the word, providers. Wow, words are tough today. So if you're using Tails and you're trying to use it for secure communication, you should really be using an end-to-end encrypted provider for your communication methods. So Signal, Threema, Wire. Telegram is only end-to-end encrypted if you're using the secret chat function. If you're not using the secret chat function, well, then it's just there. So it's not like it's secret. Weird noises. So that's where really it ends. In terms of the similarities, Kodachi is more of a all-around usable platform. I wouldn't say day-to-day use. It even says not to install it on a main machine as a primary driver, or primary workspace is probably a better example. However, it has, again, an extensive tool list, not just security, but also functionality and just productivity. It has way more security features than Tails, which we'll go over that. But there is I'll call it a drawback in terms of it's a more advanced operating system, and it has a much higher learning curve than Tails. In Tails, you really only need to know how to make a bootable USB, how to access the Tor network, and really how to set up a bridge. Those are really the only two things. Once you do that, you can pretty much jump on the Tor network and browse clear websites, you browse onion websites, you do all that fun stuff. But with Kodachi, you really have to understand, okay, how am I going to set up the security? How am I going to do a couple of these other things, like using the nuke system, setting up persistence, just those couple things that are more and I don't want to call it advanced, because they're not hard to do. They're not normally done. Again, this whole world that I live in my head is privacy focused. So that's why I'm kind of going towards this for this video series. The uses, kind of like we talked about on that last slide, kind of bleeding in or segueing in. They're essentially the same as the Tails video. Do you value your own privacy? Yeah? Okay, well then use it. Is it really realistic to use this as a daily thing to do your searching and all that fun stuff? No, it's not. In the next video I'll go over Tor and why it really isn't as secure as people think. But again, if you are and I say again because the same reasons as the last video for Tails, I think somebody's at the door. I gotta pause this. Alright, nobody at the door. My rabbits, if you didn't know I have 2 rabbits, they were just causing a ruckus. Rabbits are very strong, actually. They can lift quite a bit. So going back, if you're an activist, if you're a journalist, try and do, I'll say, investigations, or just want to communicate securely with somebody for whatever reason, or you're in an area where you can't access certain things. You have to go through the Tor browser or the Tor network to get through some of those privacy issues. Use this stuff. Again, it's I'll say two halves of the same coin. Kodachi would be for users who are wanting to do a little bit more, or wanting to have a bit more of a secure connection, or more anonymous connection, I'll call it, even though that's not super true. Again, I'll go over that next week. Versus Tails, where it's really just straight connection, maybe use a bridge, and we're done. So there's really that. Again, make sure I'm on the right screen. Installation. So, quite simple. Same exact slide. I'll say 2 differences. First being, Kodachi doesn't have a minimum size requirement or suggestion. If they did, it wasn't easy to find on their site, or I just kind of looked past it. I would still suggest that 8 gigabyte, just to kind of play it safe. 8 gigs is usually a good amount, and if you can find a flash drive smaller than 8 gigabytes and then store, it's kind of odd. But yeah, I think 8's really become the new standard, or even 16. I think 16's really become the new standard. If you for some reason can't find a USB or don't know what to get, SanDisk USBs are usually really solid. You can just Google best USB for a bootable live image, and then that'll come up with a list usually. I try and stick with SanDisk, but I've even used the where I'm at, we have Walmart, and Walmart has I'm assuming it's their own brand. It's called ONN, O-N-N, I think it's spelled. I don't have one right next to me. I do actually. Yeah, ONN. That's the name of the brand. Yeah, I've used their stuff for live images, and they work fine. I wouldn't, I'd make sure you have backups if you're storing like super sensitive stuff on there. But that's your choice. Sorry, that was probably loud. Go Google, all that fun stuff. So download the newest version. They say to use Rufus. I've actually had some bad luck with Rufus, just not accepting or finding my USB drives that have been brand new out of the box. So I choose to use Balena Etcher. If you're on a Linux machine, you can also use the CLI to burn it straight to the ISO. Like burn. Again, just like Tails, throw it into a computer, boot to USB, and you're there. I will say one thing. Computer, stop. Goodbye. Yes, I have a smart device. Shut up. If you're curious why it's the C word and not Alexa, I'm a Star Trek fan, and so that's why. My wife is a Star Wars fan. I'm a Star Trek fan, so I won that debate. One thing about doing the boot, though, if you're going to boot it to a virtual machine, download VMware. They have a free version. Use that. I was trying to boot it on VirtualBox, and it was just a pain. It was slow. I don't know exactly why. There's probably some documentation on it. However, even on the Kodachi Linux website, it says use VMware. So use that. I installed it, updated it. My VirtualBox is completely updated to the newest one. For some reason, it was just taking forever to load, super laggy. Yeah, so just use VMware. Again, you don't have to have the pro. You don't. Words, man, they're tough today. You do not have to have the pro version to use it. It just gives you a few more extra features. That's why I like VirtualBox, because those some features are free. However, in this instance, I'm going to choose VMware. So the conclusion. Again, very similar, but Kodachi is a substantial competitor to Tails. Has similar purpose, but I still think Kodachi is going to be, or has the ability to be used more for just web browsing and communication. Installation is simple, just like on Tails, and really, if you're looking for a more robust option, I personally prefer Kodachi over Tails. There are a bunch of other operating systems similar to these. I will say these two are the main ones. There are other ones out there, but usually the system requirements are heavier. They may be a little bit more difficult to use and have an even higher learning curve than this. But if you just Google, Linux amnesic system, you'll probably come up with Tails first, but you can again scroll through and look through the postings and see what really else is out there. That's part of this whole security focused mindset, is don't just take my opinion. I'm just one person. Just go out there, look it over. If you find something new, let me know. I'll check it out for you if you don't want to. I don't mind throwing on I have a couple USBs that I keep blank and format quite often, just to throw new live systems on there, or hell, I'll even do a VirtualBox or a virtual machine, just to test it out and see if I like it, or see if it's even useful if for some reason you can't. So with that being said, there's my information. You can find me on Instagram. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me. I have my website linked there below. If you are interested in my public key, if that's something that you use or have an interest in, it's on my website. If you need a hint, let me know, but it's not going to be something easy to find. You'll have to extract it. No hacking is involved. It's just a way to hide some information. So with that being said, let's move on to the demo portion of this. Alright, so here we are. I try and keep these videos to about 20 minutes, so that means I have about six-ish minutes left. So we'll go over the home screen first. It has a bunch of information. It has a bunch of Conky information. Conky is a don't know why that. There we go. Conky is a it's rain meter, essentially. It can display a bunch of information, which this is a custom one that was already pre-built. Some of this information will be blurred out. That's just because I don't feel like showing you all of this stuff. Really, there's only going to be a couple things that I actually have blurred out. The big thing that we need to go over, though, is the Kodachi dashboard. Once this loads, make this bigger. So this has a bunch of information on it that is super useful. It'll have your system information, your IP information, your network information, and what's cool about it is it shows you and gives you a bunch of options. So if you go here, you have the Kodachi VPN with a client side for Tor or server side for Tor. Then you have a bunch of different VPNs. Now you'll see NordVPN on here. Nord is... I use Nord right now just because that's what I have. I will be moving to Proton VPN very soon. However, Nord does not keep logs. So I will say that is one plus of Nord. So I don't mind being with them. But you have all of this information here. You can move to this middle portion and block traffic if the VPN is down, block it if there's an IP change, using IP tables. You can, again, a lot of customization, a lot of ability to create security. Now we're going over to the Tor side. You can use the Switzerland Tor, you can do all of these. And then you can exclude 5, 9, 14 eyes. Those eyes are countries that work together that will share information. Again, same thing in the middle section, usually more or say security focused stuff. So blocking things if they're down, that way your actual IP isn't leaked. Same thing. Now you have your DNS. You can go through here, make a manual one, block it on the DNS, block all traffic on a DNS change, remove the IP from the whatever source, or sorry, not remove, retrieve the IP from the sources, or randomly a bunch of information on here that it would take a long time for me to go over what all this is. The cool thing I will say though is, again, you have the ability to kill the entire thing. And when I say thing, I mean the entire system that this disk is on. So you can, where'd it go? I just lost it. Oh, here you go. You can go to disabling Wi-Fi, disabling Bluetooth. You can spoof a bunch of things. You can look for rootkits. You can shut down. You can destroy the system. You can repair it. Repair the network. All of these things. And this is what I mean when I said that this is more robust and has a higher learning curve. I'm not going to be able to tell you what each setting is in terms of how it's used and what to use it for. This is where that Google comes into play. And the About section. Again, have a bunch of information on here, and then their links for the guide and things like that. Now the cool thing is, let's say I disconnect from Tor, disable it. Tor client is disabled. This will go away, and now that turns to yellow. And I make this smaller. My security score will end up going down. So if I start it, it's enabled, and you'll eventually see the information kind of come up here. It'll take a few minutes to refresh and all that fun stuff, but then this will then turn green and not this yellowish color. That's kind of the basics on the dashboard. It has, again, the light browser, the Tor browser for Kodachi. It has a bunch of additions, so it'll have, you know, ad blocker and things like that. You have the proxy chains version, and then you have the unsafe version as well. And you can edit theghacks and the proxy chains configs here. Either your security apps, so you have session, element, you have onion share, you have vercrypt, stag hide. Stag hide is important if you remember the ending of the PDFs or the slides. This will be important if you want something from me. You have KeyPass. Let's see, the GUFW at FireTools. These are both for your firewall. EXIF cleaner, getting rid of the EXIF data. You have security services. You can stop syncing things. You can start and stop SSH. I2P is another security protocol, or not security protocol, but I'll say web browsing protocol, similar to Tor network. Then you have a bunch of other apps. So you have Monero, Ethereum wallets, FileZilla. You have the simple screen recorder for whatever you need to do. You have a bunch of network tools. You still have terminals, so Terminator, which is my favorite terminal editor. And then you have actual Office tools. I like the Libre Office suite. I don't mind it. I prefer something different on Windows. Genie for your coding. You can go to the system side. You can go to the system side. Again, usually the basic things that you would see for system side. You do have Redshift, which can change the screen color. For some reason, it wasn't working for me. You have a system monitor. You can change the brightness. There is a virtual keyboard if you need it. And then the extras tools. So you have your safe box, which is going to be that persistent storage. But you can enable the system nuke, essentially completely destroying not the device, so it wouldn't destroy the USB that you're using to where it's unusable anymore, but it would destroy the system to where this system cannot be loaded anymore. We're gonna pull up the dashboard again. Again, takes a minute to load. This is green. We should be able to see what we are connected to for our Tor IP. For some reason, it's not showing that. I was having issues with this earlier, just taking forever to connect and update. I'll say connect, but update on here. And it could just be because I'm not giving this machine much of my resources, since I'm also recording. But then you also have the show desktop. That is the, I'll call it basics of Kodachi. Again, as you saw, there's a lot to be done with this, and it is quite robust in the terms of the security tools and the abilities that this machine has. So check it out, run it in a virtual machine like I am. I also have it on a USB, and the USB, it runs much smoother, much quicker. I believe it's on a 16 gigabyte USB. So check that out. Check out their website. I do want to give a shout out to Shelator. I'll link his Instagram down below me. He's actually the one that told me about this this operating system a little bit over a year ago. So quick shout out to him on that. Appreciate it. If you guys have questions, let me know. Leave a comment on the video, leave a comment on my Instagram, send me a message, whatever that may be. Just let me know what you think of the video. If you've used this stuff before, if you have other ideas, please let me know. All of my videos are made for you guys. Obviously, these are things that I like, but I'm trying to get information out to you all. So if you want to see something, if you want me to look at something, please let me know. I may do a video on it, may do a post on it, may just say, hey, this isn't something I'm interested in, but I will check everything out. So with that, I appreciate you guys all watching this, appreciate the support on everything, and whatever day and whatever time it is, hope you have a great rest of it.
Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions.